Alright, let's end this off with God's final wish. Or God's last wish. And then the final understandings. They analyzing us? Yeah, they going crazy with the analyzation. Alright, y'all. These are the last two that we'll ever get to really experience. And CDD. The Wayback Machine leads to this. This video instantly repelled me, and I haven't finished. So there's 3 links right here. Thesis. Damn. That's crazy. So 2 of those sites lead to blank websites. Like they got taken down. And then this is just some fucking stupid ass shit. Nigga, are we never gonna know what God's last wish was? Like, look. Boom. Tier 0. And the other one leads to nothing too. This video is cap. Alright, well. Let's see if we can find it ourselves. God's final wish. Now Paul's gonna be calling me broke ass forever? Nah. So I found it. I think I found the same one Pan just came across. Does anyone know about the based God's last wish? I saw a rap conspiracy iceberg on IG and based God's last wish really stood out. Huh? It's this shit. What the f... Nigga, no. Nah, mine is different. Bet. Say less. Just what I needed. Wendigoons, I need to join this shit. They be coming in clutch. If Wendigoon don't come in clutch, the niggas that watch him do. Possible interpretations of all conspiracies are true. God's ego death and God's last wish. So I guess we'll go ahead and knock out all these. I mean, we already done God's ego death, but we haven't done all conspiracies are true yet. The meaning is obvious, but how can this be a thing? Many of these theories contradict each other, so how can they all be true at the exact same time? Maybe they aren't at the same time, but they will all eventually become true. This may have to do with the mainstream concept of the multiverse. Okay, so we all know what the multiverse is. Or with the one eternal resurrence. If whatever that says is right, then the universe is always subject to a big bounce, and this means to finite number of particles in an infinite timeline that will recombine sooner or later in all possible ways. So it's just saying that every theory that we've ever encountered has been or will be proven to be correct in some timeline, one or the other. That's a pretty straightforward theory. Now we got God's last wish. My absolute favorite theory. I strongly suggest Dad not to interpret this theory with Egg's story. Basically, God was dying and created us just before his death to become one day more similar to him and to ascend. This interpretation isn't worthy of the last but one theory of the entire iceberg. Instead, I think it's better to assume that God's last wish refers to an even more dark theory. To cite a post on the Reddit I found. God's last wish may also be referring to Philip Mainlander's philosophy of redemption, where he writes about God deciding that non-existence and death is inherently better than existence and... What the where he writes about God's deciding that non-existent and death is inherently better than existence in life, and decided to off himself. His only obstacle to reaching redemption was himself. So he had to split into pieces, and we are those pieces, existing solely to die and grant God's last wish. Holy shit, what the fuck? So God was an entity so powerful that in order to die, he had to shatter himself into billions and billions of planets, stars, galaxies, universe, and multiverses, and the wait for these to be consumed and evaporate into nothingness. I can't imagine anything more Lovecraftian than this. Apparently, omnipotence, I think, leads you to conclude that non-existence is the ultimate moral principle, and we have to thank our limited intellect that prevents us from reaching a conclusion that then, as God, we would never ignore. That's fucking crazy. So basically, God's last wish was to break himself into a billion pieces because he realized that living in existence was way worse than non-existence. So his last wish was to break himself off, and basically, we are God. I always saw God's last wish as him getting weaker and for some reason and making us humans into gods before he dies. Nah, I mean, he just kind of like realizes that living in existence is the worst choice. Looks like there are two wishes. However, Mainlander believed that this is the reason why anti-natalism and pro-mortalism should still be applied. Because even if we don't know what God saw then when he stared into the abyss. Oh yeah, wasn't that a big thing? Like, what did God see when he stared into the abyss? We simply have to trust him and follow his actions. No, that's fucking clean. I feel like there's something that can go a lot deeper into it, but that's fucking wild. Nightbot is not helping the move right now. Cop some more merch. Yeah. Yes, sir. Nah, that's a wild ass fucking theory. Existence do kind of suck. So maybe like, just to get even deeper, maybe people that, in no disrespect whatsoever, that have ever offed themselves, pertaining to this theory, right? Maybe people that have ever felt that is because it's like what God felt in that time, and that's basically what we all are, recreations of him. So when he felt that, that's also just like a reflection of you also feeling it in the way, shape, or form. I don't know what the fuck that is. God think he Cardi. Alright, so that was God's last wish. That was pretty straightforward, but that's still a very, very good ass theory. People question on how that's achievable. Our own consciousness cannot be trusted as reality. I think therefore I am is a lie predicated upon the faith placed in our mysterious ability to experience. The final understanding is, to my own understanding, is the acknowledgement that the fundamental human truth out of there being truth is a lie. There is no truth. Nothing is true. Nothing can be proven to be true. Human rationality is only human, and therefore cannot be trusted to represent the truth of the state of existence. You are a bunch of cells which evolved over millions of years. You were not created from the divine hand. You don't know how you came to be, and the only wisdom worth heeding is the acknowledgement that you know nothing. So the final understanding is that everything that we've read up until this point is not true. And the true way to acknowledge that you know everything is to also acknowledge that you know absolutely nothing. They really make you get all the way to the end of the iceberg and then be like, damn, let me hit you with some philosophical shit. So us going through tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. And thinking that we know everything about each of these theories that we've talked about, only to get to the final understanding and realize that the most knowledgeable person in the entire world is the person that realizes that none of this is true and that nothing in life is real and that we basically know nothing. That shit is wild, bro. It really wraps it up with being the rebirth. But the tier says, in the end, everything becomes true. So it is true. But even if we were to do research on every single one of these theories, we would still know absolutely nothing. We can know everything from tier 1 to tier 0. But we still have to realize, in order to be a true genius, we know nothing at all whatsoever. And this is all true indeed. That's fucking crazy, bro. Well, that is CDD, my niggas. As I said, we're going to finish it all in 2021 before 2022 gets here. We went from Crazy Head to the Rebirth. The Rebirth obviously being the fucking standout. It was for sure 1,000,000% worth it. All S tiers to me that we discussed. A lot of these, a lot of people couldn't even find anything on, so I'm gonna take that as a thing to like not even research that shit, because I'm not gonna be able to find it either. But yeah, man, that's it. Finn, CDD is done. Conspiracy Deep Dive, we have went through tier 1 to tier 0 and have finished every single theory with everything in it that we did. I'm going to make a big tier list later with everything in it we did. Alright, best. Say less. Meat showers is for sure bottom tier.